welcome to Above Replacement Radio. I am your host, Chris Gianta. You know what Christy Mathewson wasn't worried about? SIERA. When you're thinking about Pedro Ciriaco, I mean, the only one that can compete is maybe Hannes Wagner's 1908 season. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Curran.
Like, if we just clip together every time we've talked about him on other people's profiles, we've done a Mickey Cochran episode.
I can't get past Rabbit Marinville. It's not necessarily Hall of Fame. It's not necessarily above average, but we can guarantee you we are better than just the standard replacement level college sophomore.
And welcome to Above Replacement Radio, where we're talking baseball kind of whenever. I am your host, Chris Gianta. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Curran. How you doing, Daniel?
Chris, it's about time we address this because we haven't had a chance to talk about it on the show. So after the last time we recorded, we were in person and we were both leaving where we were recording together, and we saw a rat on the side of the street. It was the craziest thing.
Yeah, and it was pretty wild, and we, there was a video of us. Talking about whether this was, a rat or a raccoon.
Yeah, Chris was insisting that it was a raccoon, but I promise you it was a rat.
Yeah, and it spread across our friends' circles, and based on the conversation, they thought, all right, well, Chris and Daniel definitely aren't going to be friends anymore based on the way they are altercating right now. But just a simple misunderstanding.
Yeah. So, I mean, we had to talk about that. But you know what? We're still here. But even it was a rat, I swear to you.
Yeah. Well, we can agree to disagree on these things, but I'm glad I'm glad things aren't going the way that people in the media implied.
Yeah, no.
About the Above Replacement Radio duo. I would hate if that was actually a thing, but the media can just twist these things.
Exactly.
But yeah, that for those not aware is a relation to a Jeff McNeil, Francisco Lindor story.
A classic Mets. It's a Mets classic.
Yeah. Real weird. And something I would not expect like Francisco Lindor to be involved in, unless it was the actual story.
It was not the actual story.
Like, unless
there's like, that's an easy cover up. Because like the Mets won that game, Francisco Lindor homered, like everyone was cool. Like they were like, we need to forget that whatever happened there happened. I saw rumors, and I doubt that this is true, but I saw rumors that like supposedly McNeil was like telling Lindor like he wasn't worth the money and like all this stuff, and they started fighting. I don't think McNeil's that type of guy, and I don't think that's true. But like, I also don't think they were debating a rat or a raccoon. So I think they don't look alike at all.
Yeah, I mean, if he said that, that's a tough thing to say before the contract is even being put in. Like Lindor is not even on.
Don't go with that. I doubt it's true.
Yeah, Lindor's not even on the 10-year contract that the Mets signed him to.
Yep.
So it would be a long ride if he actually went that way. But that seems kind of vaudevillian, very dramatic.
Yes.
But yeah, that was our Mets news of the week, pretty much. Seems to be it. Although they are leading the division.
As of right now, if the Phillies come back and win this Sunday night game against the Braves, it'll be tied again. But it is, I believe, 4-1 Atlanta right now. 5-1 Atlanta.
Oh.
And Nola getting knocked around on the Sunday Night Baseball.
Surprising.
I wasn't ready for this.
But yeah, we had a pretty busy week of baseball in general. Lots of headlines coming this week, starting with I believe this happened like right after we recorded our last episode. Dustin May, emerging 23-year-old right-handed starting pitcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers, who, was a top 10 prospect coming up, was having a lot of success this year. He had a 38% strikeout rate in 2021. he is getting Tommy John surgery, had elbow issues, and looks like, we're probably not realistically seeing him
until 2023.
Until 2023, yeah.
Not like maybe a postseason run in 2022. That's probably the best case scenario.
Yeah. We've seen this type of thing happen to a lot of pitchers. Steven Strasburg, Matt Harvey, Jose Fernandez, just guys that were coming up and kind of had a bump in the road to start their career. But May will probably recover from this, just fine.
He certainly will, but I mean, this one hurts. Like, I feel like a lot of the times when pitchers are getting Tommy John surgery, it's sort of like, it had been coming for a while. They had lingering injury problems, and especially with the elbow, they've missed a lot of time. Like Chris Sale, I don't think anyone was surprised to see him go down. Same with Luis Severino. Same with Noah Syndergaard, just to name a few in the recent past. This sort of seemed like it just happened one day for Dustin May.
Yeah, this wasn't a developing thing where one time it's shoulder fatigue, then it's shoulder inflammation, then it's like, I don't know, forearm tightness, and then eventually in a 6-month development, you're getting Tommy John surgery. Like Chris Sale, you mentioned, he was injured in the middle of 2018. That was kind of a development, and then he eventually got Tommy John surgery 18 months later, even later. But yeah, this just popped up out of nowhere. It was weird.
It felt like it did. I mean, I think Mays had some small injury issues here and there, but I mean, who doesn't in a sense? This one, it really felt like it went from 0 to 100 real quick.
Yeah, pretty odd. Maybe you think, he was a young guy that was pitching through potential pain, but it didn't look like
it didn't show. I mean, this happened at such a poor time in his career. You mentioned the 38% strikeout rate. That's nearly double what it was in 2020. His strikeout rate last season was 19.6. It's now 38. And his 18.4% difference in strikeout rate between seasons is the second highest among qualifiers. The only person that's ahead of him is Matt Barnes. So he leads all qualifying starters in year-to-year differences in strikeout rate. So it really hurts to see a guy like this go down, especially at age 23. He really looked like he was solidifying his spot in that loaded Dodgers rotation, but unfortunately that will not be the case this year or next year.
Yeah, he was looking like one of those guys that he was looking like he was going to be grouped with, in terms of skill comparison, grouped in with, Buehler, Kershaw, and Bauer at the top of the rotation. It wasn't just going to be like, a 3-headed monster. Is going to be more of a 4-headed monster. But no. I mean, I think the only thing, I guess, that could have made this predictable, I guess, was, a very skinny guy throwing extremely hard. He's 6'6", 180 pounds, which is not a lot of body composition for someone who's throwing 100 miles per hour. And if you want to see more on that theory of needing a support system in order to throw that hard
consistently
without getting injured, there's this guy, Dr. Josh Heenan, who talks about needing a lot of body composition and a certain amount of strength in order to throw very hard without getting injured.
And I mean, to that point,
of time,
I guess that is certainly a possible predictable point, but we're in an age where virtually everyone is throwing hard. I mean, look at Joe Kelly. He's been, I guess he has a different workload because he's a reliever, but he was a starter at one point who was throwing 100 as just a scrawny guy with glasses.
Yeah. I think he's 6 feet tall, 180 or 170 pounds.
He is a very similar build to Dustin May.
Yeah, I think May is a little longer, a little taller, compared to his weight. But yeah, that's just something that I've read on. But obviously I'm no expert on any of that. It's just
we do not have medical degrees, nor will we ever.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to that guy about all that. But yeah, yeah, pretty much came out of nowhere. But the Dodgers will probably be fine. I'm wondering if this increases the chances of David Price being put into the rotation at any point.
It could. I mean, this has happened last week, and the Dodgers have had to turn through the rotation since. I don't think he's made a start, but it sounds like the Dodgers definitely could use something. I mean, they lost their 5th straight series or something like that today.
Yeah,
because they lost the series to the Angels. They got swept by the Cubs earlier this week, and last weekend they lost 3 out of 4 to the Brewers. Before that, they played the Reds. Did they beat the Reds? No, I think they lost to the Reds at home in the series.
Yeah, they lost 2 out of 3.
Yep, and then before that, we're talking April 25th, and that was a series I think against the Padres, where the Padres took 3 of 4 or 2 of something like that.
I'm just looking at their schedule.
Yeah, the Padres took 3 out of 4. So the last time the Dodgers won a series was like mid-April. It's been close to a month.
Yeah, they won. So they like won 5 consecutive series to start the year, and then it's been a turn for the worst. Yeah, they swept Colorado at home, and then then they won 2 out of 3 against San Diego. Okay, then they lost, or they split a 2-game series between against the Mariners. Then they dropped 3 out of 4 against the Padres, dropped 2 out of 3 against the Reds, dropped
3 of 4 to the Brewers.
3 of 4 to the Brewers, swept by the Cubs,
lost 2 out of 3 to the Angels.
And then today they dropped their 2nd out of 3 to the Angels. So yeah, that seems to be 5.
They were like the last team in the National League to lose a series too, and now they've lost 5 in a row.
Yeah, it's incredibly odd. They seem to be losing via walk-off. Like they lost via walk-off to
the
Brewers and Cubs, like multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been losing close games, but they just can't seem to get it done.
Last night, on Saturday night, they almost blew a 13-0 lead.
Right.
It was 13-0, and then it was a 14-11 final.
Yeah. So that's, somewhat alarming.
Mm-hmm. Somewhat alarming.
Yes. We don't want to overuse a phrase, but yeah, somewhat alarming. But yeah, Dustin May being out definitely doesn't help them. I mean, so it's been Kershaw, Buehler, Bauer, May, and
Gonsolin?
Who? Yeah.
No, I think Gonsolin's been used as a reliever.
I'm trying to think of who the 5th. Oh, Urias.
Oh yeah, Julio Urias.
So yeah, I mean,
he started, I think, the opener of that series against the Angels, and on Tuesday, which is their next game, they have Buehler going. Makes sense.
Now I'm thinking, I'm wondering who's when was May's last start? It
was against the Brewers. It was May 1st.
May 1st.
Yeah, because I remember it was literally May Day.
Oh yeah. Tough.
And he left. Yeah.
So yeah, Urias, Kershaw. Yeah, Urias started May 2nd. Kershaw started the game after that. Then I'm trying to look at starters every game since. I'm guessing since they've had days off, they haven't pitched five different starters. Bauer went on the night half of that doubleheader. Then May 5th, they started Walker Buehler. And then May 6th, hopefully they got a decision so I don't have to scroll down as much. Then Urias, May 6th. And then May
May 7th, it was Arias again, I believe.
Yeah, May 7th, it was Arias. There was no game on May 6th.
And last night, they started Kershaw, and then
Kershaw
today they started Bauer.
Today was Bauer, so interesting. Maybe Bauer pitching every fourth day might be a thing, but
it could be.
You never know. It would be tough with all that depth that they have.
What we do know is that Luis Robert is going to miss 12 to 16 weeks. He had a hip flexor injury, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, torn hip flexor.
Yep. That is not fun. Luis Robert, obviously he was runner-up in the American League Rookie of the Year last year. His expected batting average went from 20th percentile in 2020 to the 57th percentile this year so far. So he had been showing some improvements. His strikeout rate had gone down because that was one of his biggest issues last year. Little bit, not by too much, but still, any progress is progress. And it really sucks that we're not going to see him for 3 months because he's a StatCast machine and he's a guy that you want to have out there.
Yeah, and it adds to what potentially could be an outfield problem for the White Sox, as they already lost Eloy Jimenez for the year. And we talked about how the White Sox kind of set themselves up in a decent position with, not having one of their main outfielders for a year, with having Adam Eaton and Adam Engel and even Leori Garcia, who could potentially fill in. But when you have two guys out for most of your season, that makes things a lot harder.
Yeah, I mean, luckily the rest of the lineup is picking up the pace. Like Yasmani, have you seen Yasmani Grandal with his walks?
No.
He's making a real contender for CS OTM in May. He's batting like 121 with a 380 OBP this season.
That's amazing.
And it's been like he had like 13 walks
this weekend. Quite incredible.
He had like 13 walks this weekend or something like that.
Oh, yeah. You're not exaggerating. 121 average, 388 on base percentage.
Yeah. He's been hilarious.
The small brain baseball fan probably thinks he's not getting on base. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean he's been picking it up. They scored 8 in the first inning on Saturday. They swept the Royals. The Royals have fallen off the map, by the way. They're under 500 now. I think they've lost like 6 in a row.
Yeah, I saw it. Who were they losing to? Were they losing to the Twins or
the Twins and the White Sox, I believe? No, not the Twins. They definitely lost to the White Sox.
Yeah, they did the White Sox beat them today? Because if they did, that's a sweep.
They did. I think it was 9-3 or something like that.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of a fall back to earth. No one expected the Royals to be in first place, but around 500 would.
Yeah, I mean, they were my sleeper team, and when I said that, I said they could probably beat out the Cleveland Baseball Club, and that is certainly possible.
Yeah, I'm looking at the White Sox lineup from Saturday. So they had, they brought Andrew Vaughn up, and he's playing left field.
Mm-hmm.
And then Garcia in center, Danny Mendick in right. So they didn't have Eaton or Engel in that particular game. There might have been a lefty pitcher, I guess, but I think Engel is a righty anyway.
Lucas Giolito had a very un-Lucas Giolito-like start today. 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, and 2 strikeouts.
Yeah, usually he's a strikeout guy.
Not like him, but you know what? Still gets the job done.
Yeah, 5 innings, 1 earned run is definitely getting the job done. Yeah, so the White Sox, I mean, I don't know if there are any potential trade targets potentially from the outfield. I mean, it's tough. Especially if you're just thinking about like next year's free agents, because there's really nothing out there in general in next year's free agent class outside of shortstops.
Yeah. I mean, the shortstop market, maybe like, I don't think the Orioles would trade Cedric Mullins. I doubt that would happen. I don't know, like Corey Dickerson, maybe.
Yeah. If the Marlins, by the way, highest run differential in the NL East. If the Marlins are not with it later on in the season, they would certainly strike a deal like that.
That's definitely a potential trade target. He has a 149 weighted runs created plus this season.
Yeah.
I mean, technically Chris Bryant is an outfielder.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I don't think imagine if the White Sox did that. Imagine if they traded for Chris Bryant and threw him in the outfield.
Yeah, that would be such a move. I mean,
like the media aspect of it too. Like he's going from the Cubs to the White Sox.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and well,
it'd have to be like the Jose Quintana revenge trade. Like the Cubs would have to capitalize on that.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, we'll see how the White Sox handle that outfield situation. Andrew Vaughn is up. I didn't know he was able to play in the outfield. I don't know what his defensive ability is. Obviously, with Robert, you're losing a lot of defensive ability. I'm pretty sure he won a Gold Glove last year out in center field.
Mm-hmm.
His outs above average were like tied for the most for an outfielder in 2020.
They were really good.
Yeah. It was pretty wild, along with, above average offense. Very, very good. So you're going to miss that for the next 3 to 4 months. But I think some of the takeaways have been positive from Chicago because he's not required surgery. And apparently after he comes back, it shouldn't be like a long-term effect on him. So
I don't believe they've had a home game since it happened, so I'm sure they'll do like the ceremonies beforehand like they did with Eloy, even though that was not a home opener.
Right, yeah. He'll have the jersey in the dugout. Right, yeah.
That was so weird.
It was something.
They are home this week against the Twins. Their next home game is Tuesday. So expect the White Sox to retire the number 88. No one will ever wear it again. It is in Luis Robert's honor.
Yeah, Luis Robert will come back and have to wear a different jersey.
Yeah, they'll be like, wait, you're still here?
Yeah. Yeah, he'll
I thought it was like 12 to 16 lifetimes.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, 12 to 16 generations from now.
Yeah.
Robert will be back on the field with the White Sox. But yeah, the White Sox, they've
been playing good baseball without him. They're in first place in the AL Central now. Tony La Russa doesn't know the rules. That's pretty cool. Did you see that?
Yeah. So, they were playing a National League game, and I think the lineup spot had Hendricks
going to second in extra innings.
Going to second, but apparently you have the ability to not do that, right?
Yeah, to be like you can like put a position player out there. Yeah, not have your pitcher run. To be fair, I didn't know that either, but I'm not an MLB manager.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because if anyone were to ask me like, hey, I bet you didn't know that was a rule.
You're right, but I'm not getting paid to know that that's a rule.
Yeah, definitely not.
I mean, if it's going to happen to anyone, of course it happens to Tony La Russa.
Yeah, right.
Probably because most people have known. I'm sure there's been situations in the past, 2 seasons where a pitcher was due to run in the extra innings rule.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I guess not.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's happened to another American League manager and it just wasn't a story because it wasn't Tony La Russa, but no. I guess this is the first time it
maybe
happened.
It would I don't know. I mean, did he plan on having Hendricks going back out there? He had to have, right?
Potentially, I don't know. If you took the guy out, would he still be eligible to pitch or no?
I doubt it. I mean, yeah, obviously you have to, right? Like if you can replace the runner, yeah. Yeah, he would have to be available to come pitch. Otherwise, this wouldn't be a story.
Okay.
Let me see. Did Hendricks pitch multiple innings?
Yeah, this is I don't know.
He pitched 0.1 innings. But then again, he also gave up the walk-off. So he could have pitched in the 9th, got 1 out, came out for the 10th, and then yeah, that looks like that's what happened. He came out in the 9th, got 1 out. Yep, okay, and then came out for the 10th and gave up the walk-off. That's what happened.
Uh-huh.
Makes sense.
Interesting. Very interesting. But yeah, La Russa, that's, pretty funny that it happened to him.
Makes sense.
Some positive news that happened in the baseball world. We had some no-hitters. First was on Wednesday, John Means, who was actually a How About That on the show last week.
Yeah. Chris.
Two days before the no-hitter happened, and all of a sudden he throws a no-hitter.
That's right. And it wasn't a cheapie. I mean, what was it? 12 strikeouts, the 1 base runner was on a drop third strike.
Right, yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, I am willing to make the case that it's the greatest pitching performance in Baltimore Orioles history. This franchise, they started as the St. Louis Browns. They've been around for over 120 years. John Means is the only pitcher in a history with a game score of 99 in 9 innings pitched or less in a single game. 120 years of baseball, it's the only time it's happened.
120 years of Orioles/Browns baseball. And that deserves a
How about that?
The second how about that for John Means within a week.
Yeah. Who would have thought? Usually when we have a how about that, they just crumble to pieces immediately after being called out for their greatness. But John Means went the opposite direction, luckily.
That's right.
Yeah, he was doing very well. I mean, I talked about how great he's been doing the entire season, and I think it seems that he put it all together against the Mariners. Nothing was above a 530 expected batting average. You only had 2 that were above 500, and even those were like 50-50 chances of being hits. And nothing hit extremely hard against John Means either. And then of course had 12 strikeouts and no hits, no walks. And the first 4 no-hitters, official and unofficial, if we include Madison Bumgarner's, all 4 of the first 4 of this season all had no walks. So they were very close to being perfect. They were just, 1 hit batter here, an error there, a drop third strike, and they all had to be no hitters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the second no hitter of the week did have a walk, but it also had a reach on error. So I mean, it could have been a no hitter without the walk as well.
Yes.
Do we want to? Oh, wait. Do you want to get into like some of the notes with the Means no hitter?
No, I think we're good on the John Means.
There's only like a couple, like 2 batted balls with an expected batting average above 500. Like that's really impressive.
Yeah, and nothing was above 530. So like, even the closest ones were still pretty much 50-50 balls.
I mean, if you wanted to, you could easily make the case that was the greatest pitching performance in Orioles history.
Yeah, very, very much so. You provided the game score, and it makes a lot of sense. Dominant for all 28 batters that he faced, and now we get into another no hitter.
I mean, he got all 28 guys out.
That's true. Yeah. He got, it was
the first 28 out perfect game in 11 years.
Yeah, that's true. But another no-hitter happened 2 days later, another lefty. This one actually had a walk, and maybe dominant in a different sense. It had 8 strikeouts, which is, I guess, high for a guy like Wade Miley, but
When was the
also
last time he had that?
14 groundouts to 5 air outs.
Yeah.
And that's Wade Miley's game, and that's how he was pitching at his best. He was putting the ball on the ground, not a lot of line drives. With Wade Miley, there was only one ball that had an expected batting average above 500. So, and then the next closest was about 390. So, only one batted ball against Wade Miley on Friday had an expected batting average above 400.
That was the first game in Wade Miley's career with 8 strikeouts since August 19th of 2019.
So yeah, it's been a couple years.
Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, granted, we're only a few days into this season, and the last season was short, so it's basically like one full season. But still, I mean, that's it's a decent amount of starts in between 8 strikeout performances.
Yeah, and I haven't really had a chance to look into it like visually and see like how it went down. I'll probably, at one point I'll probably try to watch like all the no-hitters that have happened this year, just like speed through it on MLB.TV or whatever.
What you could do is you could just look at every are you going like full pitch breakdowns or like every batted ball or strikeout?
Just like pitch by pitch. I'll use the 10-second advance thing.
Gotcha.
But
I mean, you better hurry up before another one happens because they're coming left, right, and center this year.
Yeah, I mean, Sean Manaea that night
he almost had another one.
He had a no-hitter into the 8th inning.
Like the Wade Miley one ended. I was like, all right, on to the next no-hit bid. Sean Manaea in the 8th.
Yeah, and I had no reason to believe he wasn't going to get the no-hitter.
Yeah,
because normally when I get a no-hitter alert, I'm like, this will probably get broken up pretty soon. But no, like four official no-hitters and 5
if you want to count the other one.
Yeah, 5 if you want to count the other one. Also, I should add, because I have a how about that for bad reasons. This was the Cleveland Indians' second time being no hit this year. And this makes them one of 2 teams in baseball history and the first in the live ball era to get no hit twice in their first 40 games. Man. But the other team to do that, the 1917 White Sox. And you know what they did? They won the World Series. So some high quality, some 4D chess being played by the Cleveland Indians, looking like they're, a much better chance to be World Series champs, if you ask me.
I mean, why don't we go to Vegas right now and just place our bets?
Yeah, I mean, it's a 100% success rate.
I am turning 21 later this month. I think, is it the legal gambling age in Nevada? I don't know.
I feel like it might be even earlier. Well, like in Las Vegas, you can probably gamble when you're like 5, but
as soon as you're out of the womb, it's like, all right, what do we got in this over under?
Yeah, in New York, I don't know. It's probably either 18 or 21. I don't know which one.
In New York, it's I believe 18.
Yeah. Connecticut.
Could be wrong though. Connecticut's definitely 21. I know that.
Okay, I didn't know that
because I've been to Foxwoods.
Yeah, but the Indians' offense looking a little slightly alarming as they've been no hit by a couple of lefties, Carlos Rodon and Wade Miley. Rodon has kind of carried his success throughout the year, like still an ERA under 1.
He's right there with DeGrom. I think they're separated by like 4 points now.
Yeah, it's pretty wild how he's been able to maintain this success. Pretty good story, as we've mentioned before, like how he wasn't really wanted by the White Sox, but he chose to stay and now becoming one of the more important pitchers in their rotation.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, So a couple no hitters from the MLB today. And last bit of news we'll get into. The Angels released Albert Pujols. I guess you would call STBNL history alum, ARR history alum.
Yeah.
Albert Pujols, and it looks like that is going to be the end of his career. As it is, not going to be chasing any more, not going to be climbing any more leaderboards. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if anyone thought it would necessarily happen this way, but
it kind of did.
Looks like it.
I know it's not on the record anywhere, but I remember like junior year of high school, I started thinking about it. I was like, man, they're gonna get to the last year of that contract, and they can release him if they want.
Yeah,
that's what ended up happening. I remember that's what the Red Sox did with Hanley Ramirez, like, because they signed him to a 4-year deal in before 2015. So it goes through 15, 16, 17, and then 18. Because that's what caused me to start thinking about it. They got to the last year of the contract. They didn't have to pay him anymore, and he was struggling, so they released him. And I remember thinking, like, when the Angels get there with Pujols in 2021, if he's still like this, they might do the same thing, and that's what ended up happening.
Well, what was the contract detail with Pujols?
Well, this was just his contract year. Like, it got to the last year of the 10-year deal that started in 2012, and they essentially paid him everything they needed to. And at that point, he was kind of just taking someone else's spot because, I mean, let's be real, with the way he's performing, he's not, he's not helping the team. He's not making them better. Someone else in the minors might be. So they owe him absolutely nothing now. So you might as well quit while you're ahead and get him off the team. And that's essentially what they did. It sucks because, I get, like, Pujols is a legend. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He might even be a unanimous Hall of Famer. Who knows? Some mean person is probably going to dock him a point because he was so bad as an Angel collectively. I mean, you can look at it, Brian Kenny had a really good breakdown on this in February. No matter which way you look at it, like, this contract was a total disaster for the Angels. Like, beyond the numbers, like, the guy made one All-Star game in 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, that's not okay.
Yeah, not okay for someone who you're paying $24 million a year for.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is a very weird segment because it gives us a chance to harp on Albert, just to reflect on Albert Pujols' career, but it also gives us a chance to reflect on just the legacy of this contract, because it really is. It might be the end of signing free agents to long-term deals like that in their 30s. And I mean, yeah. honestly, the Tigers probably have it worse.
Yeah, I mean, they're paying a higher average annual value to
and he's still got 3 years. Like, they still have 3 years left after this year. And when was the last time he's been, like, an above average player? Like, probably around the same time it was for Pujols.
I think 2016, maybe. I think he was.
Let me look at his baseball reference page. Last time he had an OPS plus above 100. Because he's a 45. Oh, he had it in 2020. He had a 746 OPS in 2020. Okay, but that's 57 games. Last full season, 2018, he was all right. He had a 128 that year and 157 plate appearances, but then he got hurt. So last time he had a full season where he was above average, not counting 2020, was 2016. And he was actually great that year, but it's just been completely downhill ever since. And they have him until 2023.
Yeah,
that's the same. Like, don't be surprised if the Tigers do the same thing.
Yeah, when in 2018, I was trying to get into, like, the blogging sphere, I guess, and I wrote a little thing, and it was like right at Chris Davis's worst. That's CHRIS Davis instead of the K. Right, when
I think we all know 2018 was not K-Ris Davis's worst.
Yeah. Yeah, that was KHRIS's 48 homer season.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I wrote about how Albert Pujols, Miguel Cabrera, and Chris Davis were, setting up the platform badly for guys like Paul Goldschmidt, Freddie Freeman, and Anthony Rizzo, because all of them are similar to Pujols, Cabrera, and Davis in that they're going to be entering free agency, or contract situations in their early 30s, and they're not going to get the same money that Pujols, Cabrera, and Davis got, because obviously these things don't really work out. So I'm waiting for it to come full circle, after Freeman and Rizzo get new deals. But Goldschmidt got, a 5-year deal.
That's probably what Rizzo and I mean, I don't even think Rizzo. I'd say Rizzo gets like 3 to 4 maybe, but Freeman's probably getting a little more than that.
Yeah. So yeah,
Goldschmidt gets like 5 or 6.
Yeah, Goldschmidt got $130 million compared to like Davis got 161. Cabrera and Pujols each got 240. So things are going to, look a lot different on the free agent market, and we've kind of seen these trends already with just the general MLB roster. Not just first baseman, just not getting rewarded for past performance like they used to. But it's gonna change things after Pujols's debacle.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, he says he wants to play first base every day. I don't really see a team where that's happening. I mean, let me just look at like who's gotten the least amount of production at first base this year. I'd say the only chance is if it's a non-contender, but even still, like the White Sox, they already had to come up front and say like, we're not doing this. We're not going to do it because, Tony La Russa is obviously over there. He managed Pujols in St. Louis. The worst teams with first base production by far, the Detroit Tigers are number 1. I don't see the Tigers doing this because they already got, I mean, not that they have to pay Pujols, but they already have Miguel Cabrera on their hands. I think they're trying to move forward into a rebuild, and Albert Pujols wouldn't do that, even if it's gonna, like you can't even consider bringing fans in at this point because there's limited seating at all stadiums, or most stadiums at least. I don't think Texas is gonna do that.
Yeah, and it would be hard to see like Pujols in like one of these random uniforms, like Pujols in a Marlins uniform. That would just be weird.
Exactly. I'm like the top 10 teams in worst first base production by wins above replacement is Detroit, Baltimore, Cleveland, Seattle, Milwaukee, Boston, Tampa Bay, Arizona, Atlanta, Washington, and St. Louis. I think everyone wants to see him go back to St. Louis, and I don't blame him for that, but if he does, he's not playing first base every day. And to be honest, I don't think he's playing first base every day, no matter where he goes. I really do not think a team is going to do that.
Yeah, he just doesn't really have the ability to do that, and it would be a detriment to the lineup.
If you take away the name Albert Pujols and you say, oh, this 41-year-old first baseman wants to play for your team every day. By the way, he hasn't been a league average hitter since 2016. Do you want him? Oh, you don't? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it would just be considered nice, but nothing that's going to improve your team by any stretch.
If he goes back to St. Louis, which is what people want, he's going to be an off the bench pinch hitter guy, because you know what? It's the last year of the universal DH. NL teams still need bench spots to fill up in extra inning games and stuff. Maybe they bring back Albert Pujols just for fan service as a guy off the bench. Obviously, he's not starting over Paul Goldschmidt.
Yeah, definitely not. As we mentioned, Goldschmidt is getting paid his as well.
Yeah, like it's hard to imagine a team that like he goes there and makes them better.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine that.
I mean, I hope he changes up his expectations because he really does deserve to know when he's played his last game.
Because I think there was a thing in the press maybe last year. I learned this doing research for the history show. I think he said he planned on playing after the contract was over, but yeah, I don't see how that would, what teams would be signing up for there.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, to be fair, his Savant page actually looks kind of decent this year in some areas, but even still, like, you're in your age 41 season. Like, it's hard for me to imagine like a team, like it's if teams are trying to move forward, Albert Pujols isn't your guy.
Yeah,
he's not.
Yeah, he's not really a present. Yeah, he's not really a present day person either. And yeah, he's definitely not gonna play good defense for you at this point. If anything, he's an American League DH.
His X slugging is in the 83rd percentile, and his K percentage is in the 88th percentile, which is actually pretty good. But I mean, everything else considered, like, this is not a guy you want on your team right now.
Yeah, it's like a small sample size. Last year in 2020, his xWOBA was in the 18th percentile. Maybe he made changes, but I'm trying to look back. It hasn't been his xWOBA hasn't been above average since 2018, which I guess that matches the rest of his offensive statistics. But yeah, it would be tough.
His walk rate is also, I don't think it's ever been above average. It's never been above average in the StatCast era. It was literally 50th percentile in 2015. It was completely average.
Very, very weird considering how disciplined he was in the first half of his career.
But I mean, I hope like it really all like him getting signed by another team depends on him changing his expectations.
Right. Yeah. If he changes attitude to I want to contribute to a contending team. If he just says the word contribute, it's like, all right, well, you can. He's not the worst pinch hitter in the world available.
Like, I think all milestones at this point are off the table. He's 33 home runs away from 700. I really do not see that happening. I mean, what? Like, he's already got 3,000 hits. He's already got 2,000 RBIs. He's already got 660 home runs. He passed Willie Mays at the very least. The next person on the list is Alex Rodriguez at 696. I just don't see that happening.
30 away from passing Rodriguez to be fourth on the list.
He had what? He had how many this season? How many 5 home runs this season? I don't think it's gonna happen. Even if it wasn't just 24 games, like I don't know. Because realistically, he's not playing a full season again.
Yeah, no. It's would be tough. I mean, he played 131 in 2019, 39 in 2020, which is about 2/3. But it's just like if he plays every day, he's producing negative wins above replacement. He's going to be below replacement for your team, most likely.
He had 10. He literally was a 10 WAR player for the Angels in 10 seasons. The Angels paid $240 million for 1 win a year.
Right. Yeah.
Like I'll tell you, I'm very interested to see. I'm very excited to see what the Angels start doing next offseason because I was thinking about this the other day. The Angels have signed 5 massive contracts in their history: Mike Trout, Anthony Rendon, Albert Pujols, Justin Upton, Josh Hamilton. 3 of those contracts have hurt them more than they've helped.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And obviously, Josh Hamilton's been off the books. I'm pretty sure that contract ended a while ago, I believe.
That was that ended in at the end of 2017, I think.
Yeah. Upton and Pujols are both off the books next year. That clears up so much money for a team that desperately needs to contend.
I think Upton is through 2022.
Is it? I thought he was off the books.
No, because it's 2018 to 2022.
Oh, that sucks. Well, Pujols is still off the books. That's they paid him $30 million this year. That's 30 mil off the books still. Yeah.
You almost think it's a year too late considering what they could have had this past offseason. I guess they could go for one of those shortstops in the offseason.
They probably could, but I mean, that's not what they need.
Yeah, not necessarily, but it's.
I would say possibly go out and get Max Scherzer for like a 2 to 3 year deal, but I mean that's way down the line.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because By the way, Scherzer yesterday had a 14 strikeout performance, so looks like he's not really losing a step just yet. Has a 2.33 ERA.
We'll do a proper like remembrance of Albert Pujols' career if it turns out this is officially the end.
I guess. I mean, we're mostly there. I mean, we did about 45 minutes on the guy.
Yeah.
We'll just play that for a podcast and then
re-upload that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to him. But yeah, So now on to some positives. For our May 10th, 2021 edition of. So who do you have to highlight for the correct reasons?
So usually, Chris, like I'll admit, I kind of reach for these sometimes, these how about that's, and I'm sure that you kind of do the same from time to time, right? You know, you got to reach down there and get a guy because we both like getting guys. Me specifically, I like getting guys that are on no one's radar.
Yep.
But today, I switched it up. I'm doing the guy who leads all National League qualifiers in weighted runs created plus over the last 2 weeks. So like, you would say it's not a stretch, right?
No.
No. So we're talking about Josh Rojas today. That's right. If you don't know who that is, he is an outfielder for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And over the last 2 weeks, he is slashing 413, 438, 761, 1198 for a 508 WOBA, a 222 weighted runs created plus that leads the National League, and an 8.2 offensive rating. That also leads the National League. This all goes back to April 22nd. And his average exit velocity from April 22nd on is 7 miles per hour more than that of his average exit velo from April 1st to April 21st. So it's been a tale of 2 seasons for him between those 2 timelines. And also, since April 22nd, 17 of his 30 batted balls have been a line drive or a fly ball, which is usually what you want. Like, those are the 2 most likely outcomes of being hits, of being home runs, of being what you want, especially in 2021. So that's 56% of his batted balls being line drives or home runs. And that's, 17 of his 30. From April 1st to April 21st, he had 11 line drives and fly balls and 12 ground balls. So he's fixed up the exit velo, he's fixed up the launch angle, and guess what? He's hitting 413 with an 1198 OPS over the last 2 weeks, leading the National League in weighted runs created plus.
What team did you say? Diamondbacks?
That is Josh Rojas of the Arizona Diamondbacks, outfielder.
I think that checks one off the list for teams we haven't done. But yeah. Looking very good. Yeah, definitely was not on anyone's radar beforehand. And I guess I'm going with a theme that I've had this year so far in 2021. Because these guys just keep popping up on the radar. This guy is particularly similar to one of the guys I've already done. But, first of all, this is my 3rd catcher that I am talking about this year. Pretty wild for this to happen. Catchers don't usually come up in the how about that's, but this year, particularly kind of the year of the catcher. And I'm telling it's the year of the aging catcher too. I've done Yadier Molina.
I know where you're going.
Today I'm going with a guy who, wasn't really on people's radar. People, seems to be in the fading of his career, in the twilight of his career, I guess is the correct term. He's 34, but Buster Posey is killing it right now. He's hitting 392 with a 1221 OPS, and in his last 13 games, particularly, he is hitting 512 with a 1571 OPS. He's just doing amazing right now. Whoops. He's just doing amazing right now. And he is the first catcher, 34 or older, to have 8+ home runs in their first 21 games of the season.
How about that?
So, Buster Posey, particularly this year, just hitting the ball over the fence very well and contributing to that first place Giants team very well.
Yeah, I mean, we're sticking with one division for these. How about that's today?
Yes, that's correct. So now we move on from the highs to the lows, talking about players who are just not cutting it right now. Now for your May 10th, 2021 edition of
Slightly alarming.
So who do you have to highlight today?
So I gave this guy a lot of praise last season, and he immediately. This is an example of just a guy that we talk about. I didn't have him as a how about that, but I definitely talked about him last year. and he's struggled since. So on August 27th, when we recorded our show, Chris, we gave out our midseason MVPs of 2020, and my American League midseason MVP was Brandon Lau. Mm-hmm. And since that August 27th date, he is slashing 212, 302, 389 for a 691 OPS. And he also has the second highest strikeout rate of all qualifying second basemen in this time. He's above 30% strikeout rate. That's, I know that strikeouts are up, but as a second baseman, that's not what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, definitely not.
Brandon Lau, pick it up, guy. I mean, I gave you midseason MVP, and ever since that, it's been crash and burn.
Yeah, that's tough. And speaking of awards, my slightly alarming, and by the way, Brandon Lau.
Slightly alarming.
Someone, I didn't pick for any awards in 2021, but I did mention him like as an honorable mention and how I kind of considered him for National League Cy Young. Talking about Luis Castillo. Hasn't done well this year. He has a 6.42 ERA through 33 and 2/3 innings pitched. And a lot of his deal is guys are having a lot easier time getting contact off of him. His 20.4% whiff rate is 7.8 percentage points below his previous career low in his 5-year career. And his 16.8% strikeout rate is 6.5 percentage points below his previous career low. His previous career low was still, 23.3%. Now it is 16.8%. And yeah, having an oddly hard time not getting strikeouts and is affecting him greatly getting outs in general. I think he has about 12 hits per 9 right now, which, he has a bit of bad luck, but not, he's still, his FIP and expected ERA still reflect that he's pitching like a below average pitcher, as both of them are in like the mid to high 4s. So Luis Castillo so far in 2021,
slightly alarming.
So yeah, not the best thus far from Luis Castillo and from Brandon Lau, who have, been mostly good in their careers. But now we'll get into some previews for the week ahead, because we're going to be going back to twice a week starting next week as our school year is closing down. So that's fun. That we love to see that. Preview of the week ahead. What are you highlighting for this week?
So I'm looking at Brewers Cardinals. These teams are separated by, I believe, 2 games in the National League Central standings. Yeah, the Cardinals are up by 2 games. They've been hot, but they've beaten the Pirates and the Rockies. Meanwhile, the Brewers, they got swept by the Phillies, but they took 2 out of 3 from the Marlins this weekend. They've had a much tougher schedule than the Cardinals as of late. And they're going to be going up against each other. It's in Milwaukee. And in game 1 on Tuesday, you got Kwang Hyun Kim going against Freddie Peralta. And then on Wednesday, you have John Gant versus Brandon Woodruff. And then to wrap up the series on Thursday at 1:40, you have Jack Flaherty going up against TBD. I'm hoping TBD means the return of Corbin Burns, because a Jack Flaherty-Corbin Burns matchup would be awesome. Jack Flaherty, by the way, I know that we don't talk about this, but he's 6-0. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean,
that doesn't listen. I know wins don't matter, but 6-0 doesn't happen on accident.
That's a Cy Young favorite in my book.
That was my Cy Young pick.
Yeah. Wow. And if he goes, what is he on pace for? Like 25-0? That's
yeah, probably.
That's a solid record.
You take that.
Yeah. Exactly. For my preview, I mean, there's two sides of the rivalry you can go towards. Talking about, you could go Rays Yankees, which is
always a good one.
Always good, especially in the past few years, I would say, have always been very good matchups. Or you could go Red Sox A's. Red Sox, the A's, you never really know what the A's are going to bring to the table.
They're like the 2 best teams in the AL.
Yeah. And, the Red Sox really haven't had that much of a challenge in a while, even though they dropped 3 out of 4 to the
Texas,
to the Rangers. But yeah, I'm thinking, when was their last like series from a legit challenger? Because the last 2 series they've had the Tigers and the Orioles, and before that it was the Rangers, then a 2-gamer
White Sox probably.
Mets. Yeah, to this level, it's probably been since the White Sox series,
or maybe the Blue Jays,
that they've had this type of competition. Yeah, I mean, like a 2-game. They had a 2-gamer.
Oh, you know what? No, it's the Mets. The Mets.
Yeah, they had a 2-gamer against the Blue Jays, a 2-gamer against the Mets. But in terms of, a pretty firm division leader, they haven't. Yeah, they haven't faced a division leader since, I guess, the Mets, and then before that it was the White Sox. So Red Sox, A's could be interesting, and then Rays, Yankees. Rays, Yankees is always must-watch television.
It is,
because you never know what can go down, and also Rays seem to just kind of have the Yankees number, and until proven otherwise. But yeah, that is the episode. We hope you enjoyed this one. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and want to watch the conversation as it happens, or if you want to go to the playlists and check out the history series or our Hall of Fame breakdowns, go to our YouTube channel, subscribe to the YouTube channel. It is called Above Replacement Radio. Follow our social medias. Follow me on Twitter at Chris_Gianta. Follow Daniel on both Twitter and Instagram at Daniel_Curran, and follow the show Instagram at Above Replacement Radio for all the show needs. And we hope you enjoyed this one, and we hope you enjoy the next one, which will be coming on probably Thursday, where we're talking all the midweek stuff. So we will see you then.
This conversation is over.